Very good afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining us on a KTN Newsdesk on this 20th day of April 2016. It's certainly a good day for Chase Bank customers. My name is Akisa Wandera. Now, the fate of Chase Bank on how soon it stands to be reopened will be made known today as the Central Bank of Kenya has addressed the media and said officially that the Chase Bank will be officially reopened on Wednesday, the 27th of this month. That is Wednesday the following week. According to the CBK, the Chase Bank had not met its financial obligations, hence the reason why it was placed under receivership. KTN's Abby Agina has been keeping an eye on that story and will be joining us later to give us an update on the same.
Today I'm pleased to announce that, in fact, we as a central bank have endorsed an agreement or understandings that have been reached and agreed upon today at 8:30 this morning, between KDIC, which is the receiver, with KCB Bank Kenya Limited, which I'll just call KCB, on modalities to reopen Chase Bank in receivership in the next few days, and the eventual acquisition of a majority stake in the bank. We will provide liquidity to make sure that this works.
There was the press conference addressed by CBK Governor Patrick Njoroge, and joining us now in studio is our business anchor reporter Abby Agina, just to put into perspective what it means for the depositors of Chase Bank. Many thanks for joining us, Abby, in studio. Straight into it. We didn't expect this to come as fast as it has. What really happened? What are the reasons we've been given for reopening Chase Bank?
Well, Akisa, it's a good day for Chase Bank depositors. We did see indication from CBK saying that they would want this matter resolved as possible. It seems that the number of accounts that were held at that bank pushed CBK and the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation to work fast to ensure everything is actually restored. We have many customers having been affected, one of them being the Law Society of Kenya, which had an account with Chase Bank. We also did see Kenya Tea Development Authority, KTDA, as well as other numerous organizations. So it also shows you the gravity of the matter before them. A number of entrepreneurs, as you know, Chase Bank was the popular bank for SMEs.
SMEs, yes.
So you can actually see some sense of urgency here because the lives of many were stranded. They could not make ends meet. So CBK acted prudently, and right now we are talking of reopening come next week, 27th of April, Akisa.
All right, what does this really mean, the reopening of the bank? What does this really mean for depositors?
Good question, Akisa. Well, looking at Chase Bank as is, so far we are seeing after this reopening come Wednesday next week, it means depositors will be able to access at least 1 million shillings and below, as CBK has said, because they also don't want to see a situation where the bank is faced with a bank run, where everyone is now withdrawing their money all of a sudden. So it simply means it's a big day for depositors, so they'll be able to access their money also via mobile banking. That's one of the conditions the CBK has set, so that in the event that customers cannot be able to go to the 62 branches that Chase Bank has across the country, they can still access their money using the mobile money platforms.
So what we are saying essentially is that if you have more than 1 million shillings, because I'm very sure some customers will be rushing to withdraw all their money, will this be possible?
Looking at the modalities at hand, Akisa, CBK is quite silent on people having more than 1 million shillings plus, because the bank, as you know, is also still under investigations, because there's a lot of money that cannot be accounted for that were taken up as loans by directors. So CBK will be trying to see that all this is covered before all these big chunks of money can be accessed. So as we speak, Kenya Commercial Bank, KCB, is actually likely to acquire Chase Bank and have a majority stake in the bank. So KCB technically will be running Chase Bank come next week on Wednesday. It is actually said that KCB was picked because of its regional footprint, its countrywide footprint, as well as issues to do with efficiency and the human resource capabilities. So people with more than 1 billion, they might have to wait a bit longer.
More than a million. More than a million, yes?
Yeah, more than 1 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Abby, for giving us that update. Abby Agina there, our business anchor and reporter, just giving us a brief there on what it means for Chase Bank depositors after the bank it has been announced rather that the bank will be reopened next week on Wednesday. Certainly a big day for Chase Bank depositors. But moving on, the chairman of the Council of Governors, Peter Munya, has decried the slow pace of disbursement of funds to the counties. Speaking at the start of the devolution conference in Meru County, he noted that some counties are yet to receive their January allocations. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who was expected to officially open the conference, is yet to show up. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri is, however, in attendance. Another major issue to be discussed at the conference is the push by deputy governors to have their powers and mandates streamlined. At least 6,000 delegates, including governors and members of parliament and members of the county assemblies, are attending the conference. Senators are conspicuously absent from the conference. All right, joining us now is our reporter, Karen Derry, who is in Meru, of course, covering the devolution, the third annual devolution conference. Carol, joining us on phone now. Thank you very much for joining us, Karen Derry. What are some of the issues that will take center stage in this particular conference?
Good afternoon. Yes, we are at the Meru National Polytechnic, where the devolution conference is ongoing. President Uhuru Kenyatta was expected to officially open the conference, but he has sent his apologies through the devolution cabinet secretary, Mwangi Kiunjuri, who is currently speaking. As we speak right now, Kiunjuri is at the podium delivering the president's speech, and some of the highlights include the successes of devolution this far, 3 years on. What devolution has done, brought services closer to the populace and helped in enabling and making the lives of those in the grassroots better. With President Uhuru Kenyatta, through his speech, as we've said, he has not been able to make it to Meru County for the devolution conference, but through Kiunjuri, he says that there's a lot of money that has been set aside for devolution, some 168 billion shillings that has been set aside for arid and semi-arid areas, counties that previously had thought themselves as not being part of Kenya because of being left behind in terms of development, as well as 6 billion shillings being set aside through the Equalization Fund. And now, besides Mwangi Kiunjuri, who is the highest-ranking official at this devolution conference, there is a delegation from different countries. The Prime Minister of Namibia is the chief guest, Dr. Saala Kubogelwa. She's already made her speech. The minister from Burundi is also here. The minister in charge of federal affairs from Ethiopia is in attendance at this third devolution conference, as well as a delegation from Slovakia, headed by the ambassador from Slovakia to Kenya. These are some of the foreign officials that are here that have joined some 6,000 delegates from different parts of the country, representatives from the 47 county governments, representatives from the national government itself, from the civil society, and other stakeholders that are interested in devolution. Now, regarding the issue of senators skipping this particular conference, they had initially expressed regret that this annual conference has been sort of hijacked by governors who feel that it is their event. And the senators have been saying and expressing their views that they feel left out, yet they are equal partners in matters of devolution. But at this particular conference, the Speaker of the Senate, Ekwe Duro, is here together with just 2 other senators. But most senators have skipped this event, including the host senator, that is Kiraitu Murungi, here in Meru County. Being the host senator, he's not here. But the governor for Meru County, Peter Munya, who is also the chairman of the Council of Governors is a host, and he's already made his speech asking the government through the Council of Governors that they need more money because there are bit of challenges here and there, bottlenecks that might hamper with projects of development, such as the slow disbursement of funds from the national government, as well as inadequate funds also, that they feel that they need more money, but mostly their issue is that of delayed funds, or rather the slow disbursement of funds reaching the county governments, and the issue of conditional grants that are always channeled through the national ministries. The governors feeling that this is not right because then they are made to feel as if they are appendages of the national government, and they want the county governments to be independent, that they are able to carry out projects of development and assist the populace.
Now, Carol, before I let you go, the conspicuous absence of the senators, what does this really say or really mean for devolution? And has there been talk or in the conference on why the senators missed out on this particular conference?
Yes, the skipping of senators in this particular conference, most people feel that it is not a good show, because if this conference is aimed at addressing matters devolution, looking at the scorecard, the milestones achieved this far, 3 years on, what are the problems, what are the challenges, what are the gains? These are issues that have been discussed in this 3-day conference that started yesterday, although yesterday was mostly registration. We can say that it is officially starting today and will end on Saturday. So the absence of senators perhaps might hamper with the fruitful deliberations, because they are partners as far as devolution goes. They need also to give their views, they need to give their submissions. With Ekwe Duro, the Speaker of the Senate, who said he is here, while most senators are not here, actually only 2 are here, Ekwe Duro is here, and he's talked about the need for all partners to be involved in this journey that is devolution. And also the speech from the President that has been read by the devolution CS Mwangi Kiunjuri, with the President saying that infighting needs to stop. Governors fighting with senators, MCAs fighting with MPs, and so on and so forth. This in-house fighting, this squabbles, is not serving anybody, because what it does, in fact, is, it's retrogressive. It hampers with the development.
All right. Thank you very much, Carol, for that. That is our reporter, Karen Derry, joining us from Meru County, where she is covering the 3rd annual devolution conference, saying senators are conspicuously missing. They made real the threat they'd made earlier that they will skip this particular conference, with claims that governors are sidelining them and other stakeholders in devolution. Over to Naivasha, to our reporter, Victor Ogale, where there was the cabinet retreat, and Manoa Sipisu, State House spokesperson, has just briefed journalist Victor Ogale, beg your pardon. Thank you very much for joining us. Kindly just give us a brief on what Manoa Sipisu talked about.
Kisa, the briefing just ended a few minutes ago, and one of the things that were resolved in this 2-day cabinet retreat, was the issue of the President saying that no new project is going to be launched until the next general elections. He has said that within the next 14 months, until we go up into elections, no new project is going to be launched. Another aspect that was also resolved here in Naivasha was the issue of IDPs. The cabinet resolved that IDPs are going to be compensated, and this might also come as good news to the IDPs that come from Nyanza, or rather the western part of the country, because we've had complaints from some of them who had been complaining that their compensation was paltry, or rather some of them never got any compensation as much as they were IDPs. Another issue was the issue of cabinet meetings. It was resolved that the cabinet meetings will be held twice a month. Every in a month they'll be having 2 cabinet meetings, which is also a good thing. So Kenyans will get to be served better. Issues are going to be tackled better by their officials, or rather the ministers. So, fielding questions from journalists tried asking the spokesperson, Manoa Sipisu, about the issue of corruption. You can remember, last year some of the cabinet secretaries had to pack their bags and leave office due to corruption allegations. And just wanted to know how has it been resolved yet, as much as we have new people in office filling in the vacant posts that were there. The spokesperson was a bit evasive, though he just did a blanket answer saying that that was one of the agendas, and the president is keen on focusing on fighting corruption in his Jubilee administration. The other aspect was also the issue of funding on IBC. Remember, we are in an electioneering period. In a few months from now, rather 14 months from now, we'll be heading into the general election. And the president is keen on funding all IBC projects, or rather major IBC projects that will be forthcoming.
All right. And Victor, earlier on, there had been talks that there would be discussions on the roadmap to the 2017 general elections. Have you been briefed on anything with regards to the same?
That was not touched because to one extent that could be also a party issue, but all I can confirm is that the president said they are going to put more funding in IBC projects. I mean, that falls under that docket.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor, for that. Victor Ogale there, our reporter who has been covering the cabinet retreat in Naivasha. Today, Manoa Sipisu briefed journalists. Victor Ogale there just keeping us up to date, saying there will be no new projects being launched. The cabinet is now embarking into finishing the projects that were already launched and are underway. But now let's get into business. The Kenya Pipeline Company has moved in to dispel rumors of a looming fuel shortage in Western Kenya. While addressing journalists, the board chairman John Ngumi noted that the situation had been contained and it had emanated from a stockpile in its Kisumu and Eldoret depots. News of the shortage had sent consumers into a state of panic, triggering an artificial buyout that saw motorists rush to fuel to avoid a stock out.
We have had shortages, and I don't want to duck the issue. We've had challenges with power. We are very reliant on power. Kenya Pipeline is KPLC's single largest client in Kenya. We pay between 20 and 25 million bob a month to KPLC. We are the single largest customer. We've had challenges, especially in the Changamwe area. These same challenges that caused outages in Mombasa and other places. And because of those challenges, once you take the system down and then have to put it up again, it's hours. And the demand for fuel does not go down. So we've had to embark on a series of emergency moves to ensure that there is fuel here and there. On the diesel shortage, which I think was the one that came in the headlines the other day, there was a very specific reason. When product is moved in the pipeline, it's moved in batches. So until one batch is cleared, the other batch can't come in. What we had was a situation where we had kerosene in the tanks in Kisumu especially, and Eldoret, but in Kisumu especially. Behind the kerosene was diesel. The diesel couldn't move into either Kisumu or Eldoret until the kerosene had been removed. And the kerosene couldn't move because our tanks were full. And our tanks were full because separately ERC began a crackdown on adulteration of fuel. And we suddenly saw that the planned take-up of kerosene, it went down because kerosene is the one that was being used for adulteration of petroleum. So we were caught up in this odd situation where the pipeline system was full completely.